time is upon us. We've heard his bellows from afar. Can you hear him? He's approaching. And what say you? Is that you? Hello there! The fog separates and he appears from the shadows. He transforms before our very eyes and walks upon the earth. He is the Crow.
Hey, I guess we're live and we're rolling. And nice fade. Hey, everybody! Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Eat Crow. And by the way, that's not just a suggestion; it's a demand. Oh, be quiet, bloody music. And this week, really fortunate, really happy to have on the show a tremendous actor that you have seen on 5 bazillion. I was looking at his IMDb earlier and going, well, is there something you haven't been in? Mr. Sean Whalen.
How are you? Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so seriously, what haven't you been on? I mean, oh my goodness.
Westerns.
Seriously,
I was just talking the other day.
Yeah?
I do acting coaching as well.
Do you?
I do. And I was talking to my students, and I was, this one guy telling them what I do, and I said, well, I've kind of done every genre. I'm fortunate enough to do, kid shows, big movies, small movies, bunch of different things, and that's the only thing I haven't done as a Western.
In fact, I know that you were on Lost.
I was,
which is slightly, that's kind of a huge. So, and because you were on Lost, maybe you have some insight. Where is the Malaysian airliner?
I have obviously, and it disappeared with the white light, just like in the show.
Right. No, in fact, I've been telling people since the whole thing happened. I happen to think that J.J. Abrams actually took the plane because he wants to redo the ending in a way that somebody likes.
Yeah. A hater.
No, actually, truth be told, I like the ending just fine. In fact, I found it to be really smart, and
touching. If you went there, I thought it was touching.
I did. No, I found it to be very emotional, and so when people actually were hating, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually found myself weeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no,
Well, it was funny. I had just watched the first episode.
Yeah.
The night before the last episode, just kind of as a fluke. I guess they were replaying it. And man, it was so great that we did that because it tied so in with the last episode.
No,
it wouldn't have been as powerful actually if we hadn't seen the first episode again. I wouldn't have remembered.
No, I really thought it was great. And when there were so many people that were being really negative about it, I found myself thinking, what's wrong with you?
They wanted all the millions of things that they threw out there answered technically, and I think that's not what many things are about.
No, absolutely.
Well, Harry Potter did it, I guess. She threw a lot of stuff out there and then tied it all up. So, but not as much.
Right. But but in all seriousness, I mean, in terms of the course of your career, I was looking at. Just on the IMDb, it was like 102 appearances. I mean, acting is not an easy job, and it's something that somehow you've been. And I shouldn't say somehow. You're clearly very good at what you do.
Thank you.
And how did that come to be? I know that the first thing that you really sort of got noticed for was the People Under the Stairs, and you worked.
That was my first. I'd done some Little Caesars commercials that were pretty popular back in the day, but they're very dry and deadpan-y. But I would say my first real thing was People Under the Stairs, I would say. I did a couple tiny guest star things, but yeah, that was the biggest.
And so you got to work with Wes Craven.
Yes,
and
I did. Great. I mean, he's just it's funny. He's a very mellow guy. Very mellow.
Surprising
very
given the content of what he does.
Yeah, but I think that's always the case, right? He was just so relaxed, so mellow, very serious about the craft of it, meaning, how was the shots were designed, the acting, and just very nurturing and protective. He hated the suits whenever the suits came by.
So what was that like? I mean, how often did the suits show up? And
I don't recall it that. I mean,
Yeah.
I just. If I wouldn't have fucking known. That was my first movie. I was like, I was so excited to be there. I wouldn't even know who anyone was besides, my makeup people, and they had to glue on my fingers every day. But I didn't see them. But Jan Birch, who played the Stairmaster, the main person under the stairs, tells a great story that the suits came in and they're all looking for Wes, and everybody's panicking and no one can find him, and he goes up on the Jan would hang out with him, and he went up on the roof, and there was Wes just laying there, and he goes, well, what's going on? He goes, I'm waiting for them to leave. So he was, well, I mean, look what he's doing. It's so strange. It's so odd and weird. That movie's just strange.
Yes, yeah, it was. I remember watching it and thinking very much the same thing.
Yeah, it's very. I talked to a fan a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "Well, I said it's kind of scary, but it's funny, and then it's like kinky, and he goes, you know what it is? It's twisted." And I go, "Yes, it's twisted." So that's my description. It's a twisted movie.
So what kind of material do you go after? I mean, is there? I mean,
when I started. And this is, part of the coaching thing. I always say, well, know who you are, and know what you're trying to say. Like, good coaches, good acting teacher, they say, know what you're trying to say. Well, I thought about it, and I thought, well, I didn't brand myself. I didn't sit here and try to think of something to sell. I came out here, and I had, like, a Stan Laurel look, from Laurel and Hardy. But I used to have long, spiked hair. And I loved wearing it that way. It was just easy for me. I'd wake up and I'd take what was that pink gel stuff? What was that stuff?
Glue.
God darn it. It had a brand name. Anyway, but it was like pink and green, and, you'd squirt it out, and it was a clear bottle. And I would just put it in my hair and just go in the morning, and I was done. And I wore it like that for years. So kind of my brand, because I also loved comedy. So I went to the Groundling School that way.
Yes, which we will talk about shortly, because I come from the comedy background.
Yeah. But it was so I was like this funny, goofy, young Stan Laurel with spiked hair. And so I did have a brand, but not to my knowledge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that. But that's what kind of got me noticed with this commercial director, and got me noticed, with the milk commercial. And it was funny, because then after that, everything I got booked for, after that, they didn't want me to do that anymore. And my commercial director, who used me with my spiked hair, he just said, Sean Whalen got very uninteresting as soon as he took his hair down. I was like, ouch, Jesus. Spielberg liked it, and that's why he put me in Twister, but it was weird.
Which, you were in Twister. I mean,
yeah.
Which
that's directly because of the milk commercial,
which is amazing. And Twister, I will tell you, is actually one of my. It's one of those guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
And part of me says, you know what? It's a crap movie, but it's such a great time.
Right.
And I go, by the way, if it's a great time and you love it that much,
yeah.
Can it really be a crap movie at that point? No.
Well, I have a funny story. After we saw the premiere in Westwood, the cast was all lined up. And at the very end, the credits roll, and I leaned forward, and I was like, wow, it's just so weird. We were there for 5 months, and now to see it and the effects, we were just kind of like, wow, that's really weird. And I leaned forward, and down like 6 people, Helen Hunt leaned forward too. And we were both leaning forward, and I looked over, and she goes, either that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen, or the worst piece of shit. And I said, and she goes, which is it? And I go, I don't know either, because I didn't know either. Then I went back like a week later, and I was like, it's not that great. But people love it, and I'm not trying to diss it. I think it's just because I hung out with the real stormtroop chasers.
Okay, wait a minute. So what was that like? So you hung out with guys who did the shit that you did on screen.
Yes,
so
the main people, like Phil and Helen, they came out early and really spent a lot of time with them. And a couple people, I think Carrie L. Ways also spent more time. We were flown in a little bit later because we weren't doing as much. But I just remember hanging out with them. And the main thing I remember is they're standing there talking about what they do. They talk about how they drive along and parallel and try to find it on the map, just like we're doing. But then when they'd get something good, they'd be watching it, and all of a sudden, it'd get dark. And they go, look, see, that's debris. Isn't that awesome? Now you can see it. It's debris. And I remember going, isn't debris like houses and cars
right.
and like clothes and like people's lives? And
those are lives.
Yeah. And literally without a blink, he goes, yeah. Anyway, he was like, whatever. He didn't care at all. Like, I thought that was the craziest thing. That was the weirdest part that to me, it was like, wow, nerds finally find a way to gamble, and that's what
right.
they did. It's like nerd gambling, but they were so interesting, and I was like, and then so of course there has to be like whatever, they have the love story, blah blah blah, but
right.
they focused just on the group as a whole. It was the Storm Chasers are amazing. They got their own reality show. I mean, they're very interesting people.
And there was a lot of just sort of crazy special effects and stuff going on with that.
It was exciting because it was right after Jurassic Park.
Right.
And so ILM was huge, and they said, we just broke the mold with these dinosaurs because we use muscle and joints and stuff. And he goes, but this is a whole new beast because it's, one twirl upon one twirl upon, it's such a strange thing. But they came to Oklahoma, that's where we filmed it, and they brought a little DVD player and showed us some of the basic stuff. And we're like, wow, this is really, really cool.
So when you're doing these things and you're working on these projects, do you know it's going to be a thing?
I knew it was going to be big just because executive produced by Steven Spielberg.
Sure.
John DeBun just came off of Speed. Who directed it.
Right.
And,
Speed, because that was a high-quality film.
Yeah, exactly. But, I knew it was going to be, and they said it's going to be released next summer and in the first of the blockbuster season. So I knew it was going to be pitched as a big thing, but,
right.
It may fail. So I knew it would. And then Bill Paxton had just been in Apollo 13, which was out that summer, and I knew, Helen had won, I think, several Emmys for her work. So, I knew it was big.
Right.
And your naive hope as an actor that you're like, oh, if it's big, then everyone's going to get recognized, and I'll get recognized and all this stuff. And I remember sitting in a car, and I said, well, then I want to do the acting work. And I sat with Alan Ruck, who's just awesome.
Alan Rock, who's that?
Cam, he was Cam in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay.
But he and I shared a truck, and we were in charge of the maps and the directions. And we sat in there, and I had my notebook and my backstory, and I said, so what do you think? How about, what's our backstory? What's our relationship? And he goes, how about Alan and Sean in a car? And I go,
that is to give you an idea, because some of what you're alluding to, and I want to ask you about this in a moment, is sort of a very method actor kind of thing where you really look at it and think about, you create the backstory and you create who this person is and where they came from and what they're all about. And I had a very similar situation, much more minimal, because it was when I was in high school, I was very much totally wanted to be an actor. In fact, I wanted to be in movies, and I was in a play doing theater in high school called The Mooncusser's Daughter, and it was sort of an offshoot of oh my God, no, I'm totally drawing a blank. That's how much I paid attention to. But I played Caliban. So it was an offshoot of a Shakespearean thing.
Sure. And
I was this monster and blah 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 blah. And what I did in the production at Showtime, I just did monsters from monster films that I watched as a kid.
Okay.
And so my teacher goes, "Oh my God, you did all this incredible backstory work," and I'm thinking, no, I just did the creature from the Black Lagoon. Right. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, it's like and even when I teach my students, like, look, you need to weigh in, and it doesn't matter what you weigh in. If you hear Cam from Modern Family, I just did an interview with him, and he said, I think it was Howard Stern actually interviewing me. He said, "So what did you do to do this such a feminine character on Modern Family?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm just being my mom." You know, that was it, and that was it. But I mean, your way in, and that for his was that, and I you know, as character actors go, we all get called in for Kramer wannabes, you know,
right?
Always like, we need the funny skinny neighbor, but we don't want Kramer, and you're like, you wrote Kramer, but you're telling me you don't want Kramer? That's crazy. So, but you have, like, for me in my bag of tricks, I go, okay, I have my Kramer-ish guy. I can never be like him, but yeah, I go, okay, I know that. But that's my way in for that kind of role.
Sure.
Everybody's got their way in. It doesn't matter what your way in is. And if you say my way in was these monsters, but because you knew those monsters so well, and because you playing those monsters so well, it looked like you had a fully realized thing. It's better than you just going rah 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 rah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
that's probably what he meant. They took care of it for you. You just jumped onto what they did in those movies. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I always find this kind of stuff interesting. What brought you to acting in the first place?
I mean, to me, I mean, I tell this story a ton, but and I'm starting to believe it because I really do. I mean, I when you think about it, I don't know. I mean, I was the youngest of four, so I was hammish. You know, I was definitely hammy. And the story I tell a lot, and I really do believe, is every night we had to clear the dishes and clear the table, wash the pots, pans, everything. And it was my two older sisters and my older brother. And I would just make them laugh. I would tilt back on my chair and fall down. Could do funny jumps and falls. I could do the escalator. I could do, make them laugh, just tell jokes. And they would finish. And they didn't realize that I did nothing. I did no work. I didn't do any of the pots and pans. I didn't do the, clearly, I didn't do anything. And
so
that was my gig.
So acting was a way to get out of doing cleaning.
Menial chores.
Kids, take notes.
Yeah, take notes. And then one time I remember I did it and I entertained them. I was laughing. And then they leave and there was like a few pans in the dishwasher. And I go, hey, you guys didn't really finish. And they go, no, we did our part. Those are yours. And I was like, oh my God, the gig is up. So I started to do it at school. And I think I was in 5th grade and I directed and starred in a version of Rumpelstiltskin. And I remember we did the play and I remember I had these little elf-type socks, and they had all gone to take their bows, and then it was my turn, and I ran on the stage, and I skidded on the socks, and I went like, for my curtain call, and the crowd went nuts. And I went, this
that was
all
good.
Right. Yeah, I like this. And so I think that kind of started it. I loved performing ever since then. And I think I came from a performing point of view, and then slipped into the I should know how to act. And I was good at pretending, so, I mean, I played, like, in Diary of Anne Frank when I was in high school, so, as well as a musical of Pinocchio as Jiminy Cricket, so.
So, what was it like to do the Diary of Anne Frank? I mean, let's face it, that's not an easy story.
No,
that's like going, so I did Schindler's List.
Yeah. Well, no, it was an amazing, this woman who did it, Tess Kuntz, I'll never forget her name, she directed it, and there was an old building. It was actually a church, and what they did is the way people came into the church was the attic. So the audience was in the middle of the attic. So we'd have the dining room table, the set, and then these two sets on the sides that were the people. So when they shut the door and the actors would come in and out, the audience is in the attic.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really innovative. And this is Sandy Spring, Maryland. This is like in the middle of a small town.
What a great piece of direction.
Yeah.
What a great piece of idea. That's awesome.
So when at the end, when like they're banging down the doors and they're banging on all the walls, everybody's inside that space with them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a really great, but it was the part of Peter Van Damme, I think he's just quiet. He's just quiet and shy, which was definitely not my nature. But you also just think, okay, to make this, I don't know what, I was in high school, I don't know, but I did a good job. I got an award. But I don't know why, but I had an instinct for pretending, I guess. Even at that age.
In high school, I know that I think everybody has an instinct for pretending.
Yeah.
Mostly like, what's the answer on the test?
Right.
But
right.
That's phenomenal. So, well, let's expand a little bit. I mean, so as a working actor, and I guess something that I find to be phenomenal, and having watched a lot of your work, and I've seen. I mean, I just it was amazing to me in doing the minimal preparation that I ever do for a show, which amounts to waking up. Is sort of looking at IMDb and looking at the body of work that you've done, and I mean the simple reality is there's very, very few actors that work as much and as frequently as you do. Is there anything that maybe you feel that has sort of created that for you? I mean, aside from the obvious fact you're really fucking good.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are good. And I just heard this on, I heard Leonardo DiCaprio saying the whole same thing. It's you have to be good. And when I went to Groundlings, I was in the top of my classes, and I did make it into their Sunday show. And so I was, I was definitely, I felt like I was capable.
I'm going to sidetrack you.
Okay.
How was doing the Groundlings for you?
Fantastic. It was my savior. I went to UCLA. I came from my high school, got into the UCLA theater school. I left after 6 months. I did a play with Daphne Zuniga from Melrose Place.
Wow.
And her and I got a role at a very young age because it was a part of a 15-year-old, and most freshmen didn't get roles. So the juniors and seniors was like, what the hell? What is this freshman getting a role for? Well, the part was for a 15-year-old, and the guy was like an 8-foot guy with a mustache. And I go, you don't look 15. And I do. Like, I always played younger. And I mean, I think I was like 5'1", and my voice hadn't changed in freshman year. So I mean, I looked like a child. So I got the part. And just the resentment and the weirdness and all that stuff. So I left, and then I just said, I want to come to California. If I come from Maryland to California, I want to do I met a group of guy friends. We started a fraternity. These guys are still my friends to this day.
That's awesome.
And I had this great time, and then I had this job where this woman was working, and she used to talk about going to the Groundlings, and I said, what is it? It's this comedy school or whatever. So I remember graduating and going, I want to do that. And I went there, and they said, you got in for the fall, and I said, I'm broke. And so I got a waiter job and worked all September, October, November, December.
Where did you wait tables?
Chin Chin in Brentwood. Yeah,
all right.
Chin Chin. And then I got into the class in January. I had enough money, so I moved up to become a full-time waiter, and I went through that whole program in a couple years. But it saved me because it was fun, it was supportive, it was comedy. It wasn't all this drama, backstabby bullcrap.
Comedy is never funny thing is, comedy is never drama, and yet comedy is always drama.
Yeah. And well, I heard stand-up comedians, there's a lot of drama between those guys. But
I'm one of them.
Improv people are great. They're supportive and fun, and I loved it. It was fantastic. And because I had such a crappy experience at UCLA, I mean, not artistically, I wish part of me says, God, I just wish I would have stuck it out. But it was just fun, fun,
sure.
And supportive. And it was great.
No, I mean, I've done some minimal improv stuff. I mean, I love doing improv, and but my experience is much more minimal than what you've done.
That's what I wish I was doing the most, but I don't. I don't do it the most. I do more drama, which is weird. I would love to do more comedy, but...
What do you love about comedy?
I love when you can I love making people laugh. I think that's my favorite thing in the world. And then when I do it on movie sets, and people are like, yeah, but it's not the same. You can be funny on a movie set, but you don't get that audience. And I go, but as soon as they yell cut and the crew loses it, that's the best. I love that. I love doing that stuff.
I'm so with you.
I mean, best.
Yes. And there may be some weird narcissistic thing that goes along with it. I don't know, but making an audience laugh.
Yeah.
And even if that audience is one person.
Yeah.
If they laugh and you get that sort of that gut laugh, you really is one of the greatest.
Yeah. It really is. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. And I'd love to. And I thought about that. I go, man, I got to put on my bucket list to go do like a comedy on Broadway or something, because that just.
I was going to ask, have you ever thought about doing stand up? I mean,
I actually did it for a little while when I was younger. Yeah, I remember doing 2 shows in D.C. and one show went really horrible. Wait, I didn't know one show that went very well, and then the second show went horribly.
Because that happens. But I mean, so you.
But that was it for me. I was like, and it was so stupid. I didn't push through. I should have just pushed.
So
through.
have you ever thought about doing it again?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. No, I haven't. I really haven't. I don't know why. Because there's storytellers now, though. There's people who tell more stories, and that's what I like to do.
Oh, you know what? It would always. I mean, as somebody who does stand up, it would be about how you talk about what you talk about.
Right.
But I mean, one of the reasons that I ask it is that I get a very serious sense that you could probably totally do it and be really, really effective and be very funny.
That would be fun. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to. I'd love to do it. I think it would be fun, but.
Well, then I think you should.
Yeah. Well, something to think about. I'll put that in the file. But I mean, I also know it's a craft, and you can't take anything lightly. And hearing Jerry Seinfeld recently, that famous Howard Stern interview, did you hear that one? That hour and a half one? It's fucking mind-blowing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I tell everybody, I go, well, I'm not in a stand-up. I go, it doesn't matter what you do. You need to listen to him just talk about how he approaches life. It's pretty amazing. But the way he talks about it, you have to nuance the way you say a word, and he even talks about it in that one, in that great interview about some joke about therapy or whatever, and the nuance of it, and I was like, God, that's a really important, craft. So what my point is, it's not like I jump in and kick ass. Like, it's naive to think so. It's just like saying, oh, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be an actor.
Right.
It's a craft. You have to take your time. So I think that's the part where I go, am I gonna start a whole new journey? You know what I mean? Because I don't want to. If I walk up there and think I can kick ass, then I'm doing disservice to all the people who put the work in.
I think the great thing that actually happens is that in the doing of it, because of, I mean, it's not like you're a stockbroker by day,
right,
stand-up comedian by night, and
right,
so the two things don't intertwine.
Gotcha.
And so no matter what goes on as a result of doing it, each thing will inform the other. And so it becomes the process of learning of it, and learning what goes on in terms of stand-up will then relate to the acting, and certainly the whole. I mean, because the big lesson, the big thing about all of that, and this is actually where I would say where it actually really informs, no matter what you're doing, is being present and being just in the moment of where you are, what you're doing, and being there to just do that, whatever that is.
And that's from improv too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Rickles still does the same thing.
Yep.
He doesn't have a set. He just goes up there and just starts.
Yep.
I've never seen him, but I heard he's coming to like the Tampang, and I was like, man, I should maybe go. I heard it's still really good. Is it good?
I haven't seen, but I had the same thought. There's a point where you go, Don Rickles is gonna be doing a show somewhere that you could get to.
Right.
You know what? Maybe you should go.
Right.
There's a reason that.
Or like Joan Rivers, you know what I mean? Like her stupid. Everyone's like, she's stupid. She's not the red carpet shit. Listen to her on any good show.
She's hysterical. Oh my God! When people bag on Joan Rivers, I'm like, fuck you. You are missing it.
She had the best joke. She just recently told a joke about Tan Mom, who's a disaster. She goes, Tan Mom's kid is the only kid in the world who wishes his mother was Casey Anthony. I mean, she's still writing the sharp stuff. I mean, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, you hear stuff like that, and you just have to go, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're 25 and a hipster, and you think you're edgy.
Oh my God! And she's
go ahead and catch up to Joan Rivers.
Yeah,
she's still looking at you in the rear mirror, going, yeah, come on, kid. Find a way.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
The greatest one she was talking about. I forget who it is. She's like, no one wants to have sex with me. You guys on death row, they just turned me away. I mean, she's very solid.
Yep.
Very solid.
No, she's there's a reason that Joan Rivers is Joan Rivers.
Right. And yeah, guess what? The side gig is the fashion stuff.
Yep.
She knows that. I mean,
She
she's smart
does.
enough to know that. I mean, it's funny because that's another one. If they came somewhere close, I'd go, I think I got to go see Joan Rivers. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Just before she dies, because I think she's pretty damn funny. Well, all those old school guys. I remember Foster Brooks. I did the first pilot of Cosby's redo, kind of. Remember the one he did on CBS?
Yeah, totally.
And they said, who are they going to get for the wife? And they got Felicia Rashad, which is ridiculous. But I did the pilot. I had a one-on-one with Bill Cosby.
Wow.
That was fucking pretty cool because it's something about it's very basic comedy. He's trying to get pants that had a stain on them. I had given them back to him and it said, stain.
Right.
Like I didn't get it out. And he's coming back and he goes, well, I gave you the stain and you're supposed to remove the stain. And I'm like, this guy's it's the stain right there. That's why we mark it. And he goes, I know, just his classic
Right.
frustrating. And I was like, this is badass. I'm sitting there doing it, being the straight dumb guy for Bill Cosby. And Foster Brooks was on that show. And he was really old at that point. But he Kane, and they brought him in. They sat him down. And this woman goes, Mr. Brooks, you left your bag out there. And he just had the oldest face. And he looks over and she goes, you just left your bag out there. And he goes, tell her to wait till I'm finished. And I thought, he's so old but so sharp.
Right?
And that the old school shit just doesn't happen like that anymore.
No.
It doesn't fly off. I mean, I love Louis C.K. and all those guys, but those guys just riff. They can go on anything, and they're so sharp, and they have the encyclopedia of every joke in the universe that
Yeah.
they can draw on. I mean, it's
No,
really
you're
fun.
absolutely right. It's really that is a phenomenon of the sort of the pantheon
Right.
of what it is that they can pull from.
Right.
And there is I would describe it as a fearlessness
Right.
and an unwillingness to attach themselves to some of the political correctness.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
it's like
point of view or
Yeah.
rules,
Yeah, I mean, if
None of
anything,
that stuff.
Yeah, they're like, "Fuck you, whatever."
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
I've got my ideas. I've got my perspective.
Right.
And you don't like it?
Yeah.
Piss off.
Yeah, don't really care. And that's it is. It's a whole different way to approach it. It's not as sensitive, and they don't, and I think that's great.
I think it's amazing, and I wish it was more accepted because the advantage that they have is that they have been around for so long.
Right.
And therefore you go, oh, well, they've been around for so long.
Yeah, you can't judge
Therefore-
them as harshly.
But if you take somebody that is new and younger, you can't allow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't say those kind of things.
Which
Yeah.
what a mistake that is.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, it's also just different times,
Mm-hmm.
which is good and bad. So, but it does make you want to see and appreciate that era before it goes away from us.
Absolutely. I mean, the artistry of that, the brilliance of it, and again, those guys, even at at that age, to be so completely in that moment, just go, oh yeah, here's the punchline.
Yeah. Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very cool. So maybe I'll see Don Rickles. That's a good. I hope I didn't miss it.
Oh, well, I have not seen Don Rickles either. I mean, not live.
It's
Tons of times.
Topanga. What's the place that has the bands and right off in the Topanga Canyon? I forget. What it's called.
Bands, Topanga
The Ranch
Canyon.
House or something. Or?
The Coach House, which
Coach
is
House.
actually out in Agoura. You know
Okay, yeah, Coach House, I guess maybe.
But yeah.
Is there any callers? No.
Well, I haven't. We've been having too much fun.
Yeah.
I haven't even announced the phone number, and you would think I would know it by now. Hey, call my cell phone 818-632-3024.
There it is, right there on
Yeah.
the screen.
Oh, there we go. Hey, call into 213-973-2977. Join into the conversation. Sean Whalen is here, and with a wealth of information and knowledge and experience, and join in or cower in the corner.
Right. Either
whatever
one.
you choose. Yeah.
It's all a choice.
So, in terms of teaching in classes, what sort of what is your approach? What do you?
It's all private coaching, which is fine and fun. And I had a coach for my first 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, I had done Groundlings, and then I did Playhouse West, which is a very Meisner technique. It's very drama and hardcore comedy and a hardcore drama. And this coach really helped me. He studied with Uta Hagen and a bunch of Stella
Uta
Adler.
Hagen.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear that name, and here's a movie that so many people don't know, is the movie The Other.
Okay.
That Uta Hagen was in.
Oh wow.
It's one of holy shit. There's a phone call, and I have no control over the mouse to answer it.
Hello?
And if somebody out in the other room can help.
Wow. We can't
Either
answer
that
the
or
phone. Wow, how do we answer that? How do we answer the phone? Oh my god, they went away.
Welcome to Internet Radio, where you can call in and
Try again, whoever you were.
Yeah, by all means, call back in and in a few minutes.
So you're saying Uta Hagen and The Other.
Uta Hagen, have you ever seen The Other?
I have not.
Oh my goodness, how do you feel about
Is she good in it?
Oh, she's amazing in it. I mean,
Okay.
it's a phenomenal film based on a phenomenal book. That I don't want to say too much or spill too much.
Right.
I don't want to be the spoiler alert guy.
Right.
But yeah, but it's a movie. It will fuck with your head.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's a psychological horror story.
Wow.
About a couple of kids, a little bit of murder.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
That's all you'll say.
But no, if you haven't, really, I mean, it's a great film. It's a great book. I read the book too, and yeah, it's one of those when it's over, you go, oh, I have to go home now.
Yeah.
The weird thing was, the way I was originally introduced to the film, it was coupled with, I have no idea why, but in multiple places, it was coupled with a movie called Spies that starred Donald Sutherland and Elliot Gould, and it was their sort of follow-up to MASH.
Okay.
And then the phone rang again.
Then the phone rings. Do they know how to answer it this time? There it is. Did they get it? Hello?
Anybody? Bueller?
Is this the Cross Show?
Yes, it is. Who am I speaking with? Who are we speaking with?
My name is Hector.
Uh-oh. Hey, Hector.
Hector, what's
hey,
on?
everybody. How's everyone in the studio tonight?
We're doing great. What's on your mind?
Oh, I just want to say I'm enjoying the show, and you seem to have a lot of good times going on with the Got Milk guy.
Yeah, it's me.
With the Got Milk guy.
Yeah.
I thought I would. Well, thank you for acknowledging that. Although I tried not to brand him as the Got Milk guy.
That's okay.
But do you have a question?
Oh, he does good stuff. I like him. He's a good guy. I'm glad you got some interesting people on your show tonight. You know, because sometimes you got the crazy people. You got the people who take out like two penises. And you like wiggle around and it's all confusing.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either, and it was. But
It's your show.
Hey, two penises. You
Maybe
know what?
It was a different show. I don't know. I've been drinking a lot.
Well, you know, I look. My whole thing is, look, if somebody wants to whip out two penises, go ahead, because you're just trying to match up to my one, and then the other
All
phone
right.
rang.
The
You
other
guys have
phone.
a good night. I love it.
Answer calls here. You see it on that one? It's answer calls here.
Oh no!
Isn't that it?
Oh come on!
Did we lose them? Help.
And scene.
Yeah. And
Yes.
Yeah.
And now sleep.
yes.
And now
Yes.
wake
Sleep,
back
wake
up. And yes, you are here.
Yeah.
Um.
God, that's so funny. Where are those guys? Hello out there?
Hello. Is there anybody
Is
out
there
there? And now what we were talking.
Uta Hagen and the other.
Yes. So.
Okay.
Son of a bitch.
Help us! Answer the phone! Oh, are they joking?
Yeah, go ahead and laugh in the other room. We're over here struggling with the technology you set up. And
I think they're prank calling us.
yeah,
that
I
way.
think they are too. So, you know what? Fuck off. That's the sound of the phone ringing from the phone
think the
call that
other
doesn't
room.
matter. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
other room. So yes, Uta Hagen and the other phenomenal film. Really,
Yeah.
a truly phenomenal film and a great book. And and it was the weirdest thing.
You have to answer the calls.
Well, yeah,
How
but
do they? He
where's-
doesn't know how
where's-
to do it.
Where's the button? It's like I'm over here.
It's over there, and it'll show up a little answer button
Where though?
on that screen over there.
All
So
right,
right there it says answer. Hit that.
I see.
Where does it say answer?
Right there, in that window over there. Down. Up. Right there. Right there. Hit that once. Click it. Thank you.
Hi. Hello, caller. Who's calling in?
You finally were. It kept saying you were on another call even when you weren't, which was odd. But anyway, I have you now. So
Yes, you
it's
absolutely
good to
have.
talk to you
With
guys.
that voice, you certainly have me. But that's a different story. Hi, who's calling?
Oh, this is Catherine Purnell. Sean, you probably don't remember me.
I was just
but
gonna
I
say
took
that-
your workshop in Nashville a couple weeks ago.
Oh, Catherine.
Ago.
Yes,
Yes.
Kathy. I'm
And,
sorry, I didn't call you.
Yeah, well.
Well,
yeah.
no, I
I'll
did call
let
you
you
Catherine.
guys call me Kathy. And
No,
that'll
I
be-
do
you guys
remember.
will be
Okay, you
the
know
only
it was
two
Catherine.
people.
Wait, what scene? Tell me your scene. The scene you did. The audition scene you
sorry?
did. Which audition scene did
Oh,
you
I-
do?
I did the one from Rake with the Amish girl.
Oh yes. And then you did
yeah,
the
I had a
crazy.
little bit of a hard time with it, and,
and
then,
then
afterwards,
then
I
you-
felt like I sort of got it.
Then you did the crazy counter person.
Yes, and that was so fun because I have such a hard time screaming and being loud and what have you. So
I'm coming
I was
back
just, like,
in
learn
May.
how to raise my voice a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually coming back in May.
Yes, I'm already signed up for it,
Oh, there you go.
so I will.
So
be
she
there
took
for
my class.
sure.
He's gonna ask you a question now.
I am actually. So that's awesome. So
This was in Nashville.
So I guess number one. So what are your current aspirations with what you're looking to go do?
Well, I guess like my fantasy job would be to work with David Lynch.
Right.
But he's not really doing movies right now.
Right.
So
He's
that
meditating.
Still,
happened,
but you know
um,
that's a great. In fact, I would share that with you. Absolutely, work with David Lynch. That would be a little bit of awesome.
Yeah.
And he seems like such a nice, good-hearted person too. So
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that always helps when you're working with good people. So,
Yes.
and I've just booked another job at the student film at Vanderbilt. So
Oh,
I'm really excited about
congratulations.
that.
Great.
So how would
but-
you describe your experience working with Sean?
Fantastic. You know, very honest, but also very kind. You know, I
Mhm.
never got my feelings hurt or felt like any roadblocks were put up. And I think that kind of openness is really nice. I think, some people may do well with like an acting coach that just like yells and screams and is mean to them, but and I could handle that, but I think I do better with someone who's a little bit more, nice.
No, I'm with. So, if there was, if you could, I guess maybe narrow it down. Was there a single predominant lesson that you learned from Sean that stuck out to you most? What might that have been?
I don't know. It was more. I don't know. It's hard to say.
And so I've now put student and teacher on test here, because
Yeah.
it's like, what did you learn and what did you teach her? And
Right.
if it's just like,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
You're
so.
not supposed to have a question.
Well, no,
there's-
Yeah, and but look,
one
but-
thing that you got from me that you didn't get from anywhere else.
Sure, that's a great one.
I think just a lot more direct and specific advice, because I'm really early in taking acting classes.
Yeah.
So most everything I've taken is for beginners. So it's more just encouraging you to get up there and just go do it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time I've gotten, more specific advice about the scene.
Right.
So
And that was really helpful, and advice, a little more in the moment. So,
Right.
and it took more time. I feel like in some workshops, they sort of, you go up and you do your scene, and then you sit back down, and you're just waiting the whole time for your scene to come up. Whereas this time, I enjoyed listening to him instruct the other students, even more than going up and doing my own scenes, because I could watch from the outside.
Right.
So it's entertaining, start to finish.
That's
And
great.
you're always engaged, even if it's not you that's the focus of
Because
that.
I told you, I'm still a ham. I don't make the class about me though, right, Catherine? I don't like,
No,
make that-
certainly
I'm
not. Not at all.
but I definitely
No,
want to keep
definitely
it.
not.
Yeah. I think it's this. You still need energy and passion to keep people's interest.
Absolutely. I did have a question, though.
What was your
fire
question?
away.
I'm just kind of getting started into improv a little bit, just doing it, engaging in it in classes.
Yes, and?
workshops and stuff.
Yes, and
And I'm really, sometimes I just get such a stick up my ass, and I just freeze up and just kind of stand
that's-
there when
look,
I'm in,
that's
a group of people. I get sort of lost in it and sort of pull back because I don't know what to do. What do you do in those moments?
Is this comedy? Well, look, you heard earlier. There's part of the first part of trying to go do comedy, stand-up comedy, anything, is that you have a ham-bone-ish out there, in your face quality anyway. So I'm gonna tell you right now, it is gonna be a little more difficult if you're not just in people's faces making the. I don't know if you were, but I was the class clown. I was
Totally.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And have you ever?
I
been
was
the class?
I was the recess clown too.
Yeah,
I was-
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
That was a bigger
I was
gig.
sort of
It was like playing
I
Vegas.
made
Yep.
jokes and stuff, but
That's
it
all
was
they-
But do
more
you-
sort of
you-
off the cuff.
But you
Mark.
find, I'm sorry. Say that when I missed it, Catherine.
Oh, it was just more like I was kind of a smart ass funny.
Okay. But so you
Smart
have
ass-
that in you.
Me, but I just-
And Catherine,
But it wasn't
smart
the
ass,
kind of funny that like works in improv.
Right.
smart ass
Like, I
funny
don't
is
feel that
good.
way.
Yeah, smarter funny is good, but what you really have to do is, and it makes no sense, but you have to literally trust your instincts 100%. You can't the roadblock to you being funny and being maybe that true sarcasticness is your head going, oh god, if I'm good, bad, oh my god, I gotta think. The less, and it's so counterintuitive, but the less you think in improv, the more stuff comes out. It doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
but it's absolutely true.
In fact, to
Yeah, I have
to
a
an,
hard time doing that though. Sometimes I just can't like let go of my brain,
Right. But and that's when you get into Meisner stuff where all it is just focus on them and listening. and trust. I mean,
Right.
you make it not about you at all. Just focus on what they're doing, 100%. What they're saying, how they're saying it, whatever, and then just trust that something will come. And it usually does, the less you think about it.
No, in
Yes.
fact, it's an amazing thing that and it's so completely counterintuitive that when you stop thinking and you
Right.
stop worrying and you stop analyzing, boom, the shit shows up.
Right.
It just does. And then you go, oh, well, that's where that was.
And the way to get out of that, like I said, is not focus on other people, how they're saying it, what they're saying, what their inflection is. If you just make it about them and trust that you're listening to what they're doing, stuff will come that you won't believe, But it's hard to
Right,
do. It is hard to
absolutely.
do if you have stress towards it and you've had stress and then you go back to that same arena. And so just out of Pavlovian response, you're going to feel a little more stressed just entering it, So I definitely know what you're talking about, but you have to just go, okay, I did those classes that way. Now I'm going to do them this way. And really,
Yeah.
just let go. Literally,
There's
I know it's
something
hard
that'll
to...
get better with time. If I
Yeah,
keep
yeah, but you
saying
also
that.
have to listen. Just look at them and listen, and not make it about you. The less about you, the more stuff will come.
Right.
So
And I've always felt that way when I'm doing scenes. It's
Yeah.
For some reason, improv is so much harder for me.
well, I'm gonna have to try to get
It-
you. I'm gonna have to try to get you something weird scenes because everybody said she's got a fun sense of humor, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'll find you some good. I'll find you a good material for the next time.
It's and I would say that it gets weird because you're on that edge where you're actually, unlike when you're doing a play or a scene where you've got something that you're doing that is preconceived and pre-worked, you've actually just got to fly by the edge of your pants, and that's emotionally dangerous. But it's also, the great thing is that it's the emotionally most rewarding. And if you're willing to sort of like take that chance and go do it, and just based on the sound of your voice and how your interest is in it, you want to do that, you're totally on the right path.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing is
Thank you.
Yeah, and you just
absolutely.
if you listen to what they're saying, listen where the story's going, and you believe me, you'll figure out ways to fill the story and move it forward.
Yeah,
Very cool. Thank you so much.
absolutely.
Well, I'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, just remember to let go. Just
Yeah.
maybe not when you're behind the wheel of a
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was a note from me.
Well, I'll see you next month. I'll see you in May.
Definitely.
Alrighty.
Yes, I'll be there.
All
Have
right.
a good night.
And thank you so much for calling in. I
Yeah.
really, really appreciate
I know
it.
it's late back there. What are you doing
Thanks
up?
for talking. Bye-bye.
Bye.
No, how does the phone even? It's a computer. Tell it to
a
piss
computer.
off.
Yeah,
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, where are the good old days?
It's where's the dumb button?
Yeah.
Oh, I pressed that. No, I wasn't near the toilet. Oh, that's a mess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Have you heard complete just non sequitur often? Have you heard the weird ads that Larry King is doing?
For his show?
Not even for a show. He like does like an ad, but before, I mean, he's like doing an ad for, I think, what is it? It's like for LifeLock, or no. It's
Oh, Life Alert?
no, it's the legal thing, Legal Zoom.
He does. Oh, I didn't know.
Okay, so he does these ridiculous ads, but before he actually gets to the ad, it's like somebody said, well, we'll get Larry King, and he just tells this random story about God knows what the fuck what. I mean, it's this completely... Oh, I saw a lizard, and the lizard, it was green. And green is a color that means something to other lizards. I mean,
Right.
it's just this... just
Crazy rant.
ridiculous. And he goes, okay, so legalzoom.com. I mean,
What?
it's
No, I
it's
have not heard
oh
that.
my god, completely bizarre, completely weird, and you're going, wow, somebody wrote him a check, and
Right.
and he
Yeah.
said, yeah, I'll do it, just let me do whatever the hell I want. Oh my god, it's
That's
so
hilarious.
bizarre. So I mean, that's kind of great. You got a student who called in and goes,
I know,
yes,
I-
I mean, that's That's awesome.
Catherine, your check's in the mail.
Yeah, right. And that is
No,
number
it was nice to hear from her, but that's kind of what I heard from more people, that they're saying you're very specific. But I think that it is because you're an actor and we get direction all the time.
Sure.
You know, and so you get specific notes on how to do stuff. So.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I sent them the stuff beforehand, and they were saying, oh, a lot of people don't even send it beforehand. They just have a box, and they go, here's a scene, here's a scene. You know, I actually get their headshot, try to see what they look like, try to match them up.
Oh, you mean you give a shit?
I try to, because I know what it's like. I mean, in a real audition situation, you'd get a scene a couple days before. You wouldn't get it the day of. They don't do that anymore. Very rarely do they say, oh, can you take a look at this? But even then, you could have as long as you want, 15, 20 minutes and half an hour.
So, do you have anything coming up? He said, having read the IMDb. That
Yeah, I have a couple small horror movies, independent, I guess. But I just finished one called The Divine Tragedies by Jose Prendes, which is really fun and really cool. We opened the movie with a 5-minute single shot with me and the two actors. Yeah.
I love. I'm such a movie nerd, but you see a one-shot, single shot that goes for 5 minutes, and it's like a tracking thing that moves through a room or something.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
it's cool.
Excuse me, who has the lube? Can we wind that back? Oh my god.
And
it's amazing.
So that's cool, and then I just finished a really amazing movie called The Veliska, which is directed by Tony V from Black Box TV. And that's based on the real 1912 murders in Veliska, Iowa. And then Brooklyn Nine-Nine was just on, but then my big thing is I'm in Jersey Boys, directed the musical version of Jersey Boys, directed by Clint Eastwood. Yeah.
Wow. What? Wind it back. I'm so you got to work with Eastwood.
I have my famous. I'll have to show you after the show's done. My picture with me and Clint.
Oh man,
it was so great.
Yeah. So
he's so fucking cool. He's so cool. It was so chill and.
How many times did you go? Number one. That's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
But then also, how many times, when actually doing the work, did you go, oh, that's why he's Clint Eastwood?
Yeah. Totally, because the set was so relaxed, and he totally trusts you. I remember I played a sound tech engineer, and I'm up at the wall, and I'm trying to figure out, and they're like, no, this button doesn't. He goes, Sean, just look like you know what you're fucking doing, and you look busy. Like, all right. Because his point is, he didn't have to say it. He goes, if people are watching which fucking knob you're pressing, we're fucked anyway. Because the story, that means you're caring about the wrong thing. The story is not about that. The story is about what's going on between me and the other actor. And he goes, so if people are thinking about that, then you're already screwed. But he was so relaxed, and he really did only one or two takes, and I made him laugh.
How did you make him laugh?
I shouldn't really get. Well, it's in the Broadway show. They have a section where they're singing "Walk Like a Man," and they have an argument about the song. And the one guy's going, what do you mean? Well, like I'm a girl? I don't walk like a girl? I don't... No, he's like, no, we're not talking about a girl versus man. We're talking about a boy versus a man, like being responsible. And so, the manager starts going off. And then in the Broadway show, the sound engineer just goes, walk like... Or whatever, take one. Tape 32, take one. And that's it. But I was sitting there watching it, and I'm, getting annoyed with this guy and annoyed with the fight and annoyed with the thing. So by the time they say, let's play it, I just press the button, I lean forward, and I go, walk like a man. Take one. Like, I'm really annoyed. Like, I just, fuck, enough already. Can we record this? And behind the camera, Clint started busting up. And I was like, fuck. This is the greatest day of my life. I made Clint laugh. Just because we were talking how great it is to make the crew laugh. And, and I made Clint laugh, so that's the greatest thing.
No, I mean, boy, I got to tell you, if I ever had a moment, if I ever could actually say I made Clint Eastwood laugh, I would, I don't know, that's the tattoo I would get.
And then we were telling, the DP was from Twister, so he and I were telling crazy stories about Jan de Bont on the break, and, totally busting Clint up. It was just the best. But to bust him up on camera, that was it.
Right.
That was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that is a story that not even I
Yeah,
don't
it's like
even think
making Woody Allen laugh or
Right.
something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Tremendous. Oh, God, you know what?
We've ran
One
out
of
of
one of the
time.
things that I hate about this show
So it's only an hour.
Yeah, is that you get to the point where you go, oh, what do you mean it's over? Why? But just having such a great. Thank you. Yeah, the show is coming. The show is coming to an end. It's coming to an end. So Sean Whalen, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming in and bringing yourself and your stories and your experience. And how can people follow you?
Yeah, the best way is I have a page called That Guy Sean Whalen. That Guy Sean Whalen. You just go to that page on Facebook and like it, or That Guy SMW at That Guy SMW.
And then it's
on
Sean
Twitter.
SEAN, not the
SEAN.
SHAWN or
WHA.
some other
Yeah, That
weird
Guy Sean
spelling.
Whalen. You can like me there and message me there for coaching. I do Skype coaching. I'm doing a woman in Nashville right now who
I'm trying to do a woman in Nashville too.
yeah, whoa,
it's different
whoa,
though.
whoa. No. We do a Skype session every week, and so I do Skype coaching all over the country. And there's another girl who I work with in Pittsburgh, so I do Skype coaching as well. So you can reach me at That Guy Sean Whalen on Facebook. Like that page, and then you can message me anywhere. You can get in
And
touch.
lots lots of great film and TV in the Pantheon. And what's the
More
next
coming.
thing that's going to be coming out that you're in?
I think the next thing that will be released is going to be Jersey Boys. I mean, that's scheduled right now. I could get some more work, obviously, in between that. TV work will
Sure.
come sooner, but feature film right now is Jersey Boys.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much
Thank
for,
you.
for making yourself available and sharing all of that. And everybody out there, thank you all for tuning in and hanging out. This has been me, as always, your oddly weird host, Brian Crow. And thank you for tuning in to Eat Crow. I hope you opened wide and swallowed deeply. I'll discuss the feelings later. Anyway. And Sean,
Just make sure you call.
yes, absolutely, Colin. And Sean, again, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we will see you next week. Actually, coming up next week is going to be a pre-recorded show. It's going to be myself, a very close friend by the name of Regent St. Clair, who's the singer of my band, Castle Black, and a music journalist by the name of Kelv Hellraiser. No bullshit. We're going to record that on Saturday, air it next week. It's going to be a good time. Tune in. You're going to hear some stories of weirdness from back in the day of rock and roll like you had no idea. So, yeah, thank you so much. See you soon. Or at least I'll look at the camera soon and just assume you're there. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. That was so much fun, man.
Thank you. No, thank you. That
Really
was-
fun.
Yeah.